What's going on, everybody? My name's CakeyC and welcome back to the channel. So if you want to know the best class setup for the CR-56 AMAX to use in either Warzone or multiplayer, stick around because I'm going to go through both of them in this video. So if you keep up to date with the Call of Duty news, you would have seen that there's been some tweets flying about a mid-season update, and in this update there's going to be some weapon tuning. And the tweet confirming the mid-season update was a direct response to someone asking if they could nerf the GRAU. So we can pretty safely assume that there's going to be a nerf coming to the GRAU, and there's been suggestions that there's going to be nerfs coming to the MP5, and then possibly some buffs coming to some of the weaker guns like the Striker or the P90. So that got me thinking, if they do nerf the GRAU, what is going to be the gun that's going to step up to the mark? Which of the assault rifles is going to become the new meta for Warzone? And in my personal opinion, there's only three viable options. It's either going to be the GRAU still, or it's going to be the M4 again, or it's going to be the gun that they recently introduced in Season 4, the CR-56 AMAX. In preparation for that update, if they do nerf the GRAU and the CR-56 becomes the new meta, then we're going to need to have a look at what attachments are going to be the best for if you're using it in Warzone or multiplayer. So with that being said, let's jump straight into the video. Let's have a look at the best class setup with the CR-56 AMAX that you can use in Warzone. So before we get into the gun, let's just have a quick look at the overall class, and then we'll go deeper into the 5 attachments that you can be putting on it. So as usual, the secondary is going to be an RPG, which will then get swapped out for a second Warzone class if you can get 2 loadouts. So the 3 perks we're going to use are Cold-Blooded, just to stay off the enemy thermal sights. You can obviously swap this out for something else if you want EOD or double time, that's fine. We're going to use Ghost, obviously, to stay off the radar and to stay away from heartbeat sensors. And then the third perk isn't as important as the first 2, but I tend to run Shrapnel. And then the lethal I use a C4, and then the tactical I still use the heartbeat sensor. So with them out the way, let's have a look at the gun itself. So for the muzzle, it's the Monolithic Suppressor. Sound suppression, damage range, obviously we need both of them for Warzone. It is going to take away some ADS speed, but that's not as important as having the damage range and the sound suppression. The barrel we're going to use is the XRK Zodiac S440, again for the damage range, and it's going to give us some bullet velocity and recoil control. The other 2 are going to increase your aim down sight speed, but they're not going to give you that extra range that you're going to need for the Warzone. No laser, no optic, and then the stock I'm using at the moment is the XRK Gatekeeper. Again, this is going to give you some aiming stability and that walking steadiness. It is going to take away some movement speed when you're aiming. But when you're comparing this to some of the other stocks, you are going to get some ADS speed with some of them, but we're not going to use that for Warzone. We want this gun to be pretty accurate, so that's why we're going for the Gatekeeper. It's going to provide some more stability for us. No perk, no rear grip. The ammunition, the 45 round mags. I think the base gun comes with 30 mags. You do need those extra 15 in Warzone, especially if you're fighting in duos, trios or quads. You're going to need to keep those bullets going, and it's going to benefit you if you have more bullets in that round. And then the underbarrel, I personally run the Ranger Foregrip. For me, I just prefer the way this controls the recoil on this gun. If you don't like the Ranger Foregrip, definitely chuck on the Commando Foregrip. Again guys, entirely up to you, it's entirely preference. Have a play around with the 2 and just chuck on whichever one suits the way you control recoil on these assault rifles. And just to compare the difference, I'll keep all 4 of the other attachments the same, and I'll just swap between the Ranger Foregrip and the Commando Foregrip, and I'll chuck up on screen now the different type of recoil patterns just so you can see the difference and kind of pick which one you want to play with. So these are the 2 recoil patterns, the Ranger Foregrips on the left, the Commando Foregrip on the right. They're very, very similar, not much between them. The only thing I can really notice is that the Commando Foregrip does have slightly more recoil in the vertical plane, but obviously with you controlling the recoil, you're probably not going to notice a difference between these 2. So have a play with them, see which one you prefer. If you run with either, you're still going to have a pretty good CR-56 AMAX setup. So that's the class setup that I'm using for the CR-56 when I do get around to using it in Warzone, but at the moment I'm still using the GRAU just to be competitive with everyone else. You can use this gun and still do well, as you'll see in some of the gameplay throughout this video, but at the moment the GRAU still rules Warzone, and it would be silly just to use something else just out of principle. So I've been using the GRAU mostly, but I have been trying this out and working out the best class, and that is what I've come up with. So with that being said, let's move on now from Warzone and let's get straight on to the multiplayer gun and class setup. So again, we'll run quickly through the class setup before we get onto the gun attachment. I'm using the Renetti Guard 1, The perks I'm using are Quick Fix, Ghost and Shrapnel. Ghost and Shrapnel for the same reasons as the Warzone class, and then Quick Fix just because I like having that health regen if I need to get into some more gunfights. And then the lethal I'm using is the Semtex, and the tactical is the Stim. So let's have a look at the attachments on the CR-56 itself. So again, Monolithic Suppressor. I like the sound suppression everywhere I go. I need to be kept off the radar. That's an absolutely no-brainer. I'm pretty sure everyone runs the Monolithic on every gun out there. Again, the XRK Zodiac S440 barrel. As you'll know, this gun is quite hot on the recoil. It is quite hard to control sometimes, so anything that's going to help the recoil, I'm going to put it on. And the main reason for that is because I take the stock off. And by taking the stock off, you're going to negate those ADS time speed penalties for putting on the Monolithic and the XRK Zodiac barrel. And obviously you're going to have much faster movement, which is always good for those multiplayer scenarios. No perk, no rear grip, no laser, no optic. And then I run the 45 round mags in the ammo. And in the underbarrel slot for multiplayer, I'm using the Commando Foregrip. And the reason behind using the Commando Foregrip on multiplayer is because of the cons that the Ranger Foregrip gives you. It does give you the aim walking movement speed penalty, and it will give you an ADS penalty, which is not what we want for multiplayer. It's close quarters, you want to get that gun up as fast as possible, so that's why I've put on the Commando Foregrip. And then the only real change that I see viable for this class at the moment is if you don't need the 45 round mags and you're happy with the base magazine, you can then just put on the TAC laser, which is going to increase your ADS time speed even more. And there we have it, guys. Those are the two setups that I'm running for the CR-56 AMAX on Warzone and multiplayer. So only time will tell whether this gun becomes the new meta, but it's good to be prepared just in case it does. I look forward to seeing what happens with the GRAU. I hope it doesn't get nerfed into the ground too much, because all we're going to do then is just swap to either the M4 or the CR-56. I think if anything they might nerf the recoil on it slightly. They might make it a little bit harder to control. It's already quite a weak gun in the assault rifle class, so I can't really see what else they can do with it bar from nerf the recoil on it. So there we have it, guys. If you enjoyed the video at any point or you found these class setups helpful, drop a like on the video. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys are running in Warzone at the moment and what you think you will be running once the mid-season nerf comes. And as always, feel free to subscribe to the channel for all of the latest Call of Duty news, tips and tricks, how-tos, and much more.